Hey guys, it's Mike and Davina from MasterYourMix.com, and in this video I just want to share a quick little tip on a plugin that you can be using in your mixes that will really help with getting your bass to cut through on smaller speakers. Now, one of the big issues that we have with smaller speakers is that they often can't reproduce the low end very accurately. They just can't reproduce that fundamental pitch of the note. So whether it's a bass guitar or a kick drum, sometimes you might lose that on some smaller speakers like laptop speakers or headphones, that kind of stuff. But one thing that we can do with our mixes to help make our bass more perceivable is we can add some harmonic content. And what do I mean by that? Well, basically harmonics are multiples of the fundamental note. So let's say in a mix our lowest note is sitting around 80 hertz. Well, then the harmonics would be multiples of that. So we'd have 160 hertz, 240 hertz, and so on. And when we add those harmonics to our mix, what happens is the speakers can reproduce those frequencies no problem. And as our brains hear that, we can perceive the lower fundamental pitch. So in this example that we're talking about, we would actually be able to hear 80 hertz, whether our speakers can reproduce it or not. But internally in our brains, we can perceive that there because we've heard these fundamental harmonics. So just to show you what I mean by this, let me play this track right now and pay attention to the bass.
My heart keeps breaking down. My heart keeps breaking down. Maybe if I stood on a stage, recite all the things that you say.
Now, depending on what set of speakers you're listening to, you might have actually heard that low end pretty accurately. However, if you were listening on laptop speakers or headphones, you might not have been able to hear the bass very well. So what I want to introduce you to is this plugin R-Bass or Renaissance Bass by Waves. And basically what this plugin does is it adds those harmonics into our mix. It's a very simple plugin to use. There's only 3 controls. There's this frequency knob here, intensity, and gain. Basically what this frequency knob does is it allows us to choose the fundamental frequency of the instrument we've placed this plugin on. So without getting too technical about it, the way I usually do it is just kind of have the plugin in and play it and scroll through until you start to hear the note that really stands out to you as sounding the nicest and the fullest. So let's just do that quickly to show you in this example.
My heart keeps breaking down. My heart keeps breaking down.
So in this example, 68 hertz seems to be where things start to jump out and sound the tightest and the fullest. So let's leave our fundamental frequency selected at that. The next knob is this intensity knob here, and basically what that does is it allows us to introduce the harmonics into the mix. And the higher we have it, the more harmonic content we'll have, the lower we have it, the less we'll have. So what we want to do is we want to just gradually introduce this until our bass starts to sound bigger and fuller. So as we increase the intensity knob, what's going to start to happen is it's going to start to introduce more level sitting around 68 hertz because that's our fundamental note, but it's also going to start to introduce the harmonics. So if we're at 68 hertz, the second harmonic to that would be 136 hertz, and the third harmonic to that would be 204 hertz, and so on. I'm totally cheating and using a calculator as we speak right now to figure out these numbers. But basically, what's happening is it's going to start to introduce those frequencies, and our speakers are going to start to produce those frequencies a little bit clearer so that you can hear it on smaller speakers. So let's do that right now.
My heart keeps breaking down. My heart keeps breaking down.
So as you can see, as I increase this intensity knob, it's very easy to go overboard. Let's just show you that just so you can hear it.
My heart keeps breaking down. My heart
So as you crank it, you start to introduce so much low end, and it's a little unnecessary, and you can totally see that by looking at our output level here, that it starts to add a ton of level. And that's what this gain control is here for. It allows you to even it out and get things sitting a lot more neutral. But we're clearly not just going to leave it cranked like this, so let's play it again, and we'll try to find that sweet spot where we can just hear it a little bit, but enough that our bass is starting to sound a little more full.
My heart keeps breaking down. My heart keeps breaking down. Maybe if I stood on a stage, recite all the things that you say.
So it seems to be sitting pretty good around this 6.9 region here, and you can hear that when I bypass it, the bass just disappears and the bass becomes a lot thinner sounding, whereas when we have it in, it sounds really nice and full, and if you're listening on smaller speakers, you'll definitely hear that bass a lot better. So I just quickly wanted to show you this plugin because I think it's very, very useful for stuff such as your bass guitar tracks or your kick drum tracks. It's a great way to get your low end to jump out a little bit more on your smaller speakers and just to make the mix sound a little more full. So as of the time of me recording this video, I was on the Waves website today, and this Renaissance bass plugin is only $30, which is relatively inexpensive, and it's something you'll use on a lot of instruments. Like I said, I use it on kick and bass all the time. But I'm going to include a link below here that if you use that link, you'll actually get 10% off on the Waves website. And not just for this plugin, but for any plugins that you buy on there. They have a lot of great plugins, so you'll definitely want to be checking out their website, see what else they've got. I use a bunch of Waves plugins in all of my mixes. They got some really great stuff. So check it out, and you'll get the 10% off, which is always great. Now, if you don't want to buy this Waves plugin, I totally get it. There are some alternatives out there, and all you got to do is just look up on Google. Just Google alternative to Waves, R-Bass, or Renaissance bass, and you should find some out there. There's even some free ones that you can get that are really helpful as well. But personally, I just use R-Bass, so this is the only one that I know offhand. But definitely check it out, and I know it's going to help your mixes and get that low end sounding really nice and full. So that's it for now, guys. And if this is your first time hearing about MasterYourMix.com, please make sure to check out the website. At the top of the page, there's a link to download your free copy of the Ultimate Mixing Blueprint, which is a guide to showing you how to use EQ and compression in your mixes. I show you which areas you need to be paying attention to EQ-wise in order to bring certain characteristics out of certain instruments out. And I also show you some compression settings to try on all of the instruments as well. So make sure to check that out. It's a free download, and when you download that, you'll also be added to my mailing list, which every week I send out new video tips and tutorials, blogs, a whole bunch of stuff. So make sure to get on that. And if you like what you saw in this video, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can be up to date on all of the new videos that I create as they get released. And if you have any questions that you'd like to see me cover in any of my upcoming video tutorials, please make sure to send me an email. My email address is info@masteryourmix.com, and just let me know what areas you're struggling with right now or any questions that you might have, and I'll work my hardest to make sure that I can create some content that will help you get the answers you're looking for. So that's it for now, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.